Hi, I'm Dave. Welcome to the channel and welcome to a coffee and a chat. We haven't had one of those since the 24th of September. Not a proper one. And since then, of course, I've built my pit lane garages. So the old setup has kind of been modified a bit because obviously you can't see down there anymore. So I've had to move the camera up, get myself a taller chair, and quite conveniently, it does mean that I can now use the top of my new garages to display cars while I'm talking to you. And my magnetic racing coffee, of course. Cheers. Although if I pull this down here, there is obviously room for another car here and another car here. So we've got some potential. This may work out well for the advent calendar. This could be the way forward here. Not sure yet. Haven't quite worked out how I'm going to do that this year. Need to do it slightly differently again from last year, don't we? So, things to talk about. The first thing, obviously, is the Carrera T2B bus, or panel van, specifically my panel van. That was a very well received video. I'm glad you liked it. I really did enjoy building the bus, and I've really enjoyed driving it. I've done a lot of laps with this. It runs really well. It's really enjoyable to drive. There's no fuss. There's no fussiness with it. You just put it on the track, and if you want to drift the back end, you can drift the back end, and if you want to drive it cleanly and neatly, you can do that. If you just want to cruise about, it's never going to be perfect at anything, but it's a good jack of all trades now, and for such a high bulky slot car, it's quite astounding. Now, where do we go next with this? Well, I have been messing around with the 3D printer, and while I did my bumpers, there are also options that involve bumpers with overriders, bumpers with and without tow bars, different exhaust pipes, all the little custom bits I made. I've done some variations of them because there are variations of them. I'm kind of umming and ahhing about whether I should try and make something to fit on this roof so we could do maybe pop tops. Not sure yet. Maybe a swamp cooler just to hang on the window. I don't know. However, Rob Sale did ask a question: how low can you go? Now, I reckon the answer to that question is probably about that low. Let me show you a bus. This is the Type 2 Detectives slammed T2B panel van. This was in the UK show scene, quite well known for a few years. A while back now, probably 10 or more years ago. It's one of those things, it got made, it went everywhere across every magazine, article and feature going. And I reckon can probably try and do that. Are you interested in me trying to make literally a bumper dragger version of a T2B? Should I do some other things? I mean, I know a couple of people have said they don't really like the bus content because they're not interested in buses. Tough, I really am. So enjoy the slot car side of it if you don't enjoy the bus side of it. But maybe I should do a ratty, slammed to the floor one. Maybe I should do a high up with a pop top resto cow with all the chrome shiny bits on it. Perhaps there should be some variations. I could maybe dot them through the year. As I said, I want to produce a number of variations as well as the ones that Carreras do, because I want a Volkswagen show in Munden Park's car park. And for that, you need Volkswagens. So that's a possible. On the subject, still, of Volkswagen buses, I noticed this week, and it was Steve at Staff Slots who pointed it out to me, that Fly have released this picture. Now, at first glance, I thought, why have you done that? That's another T2B. Why would you do what Carrera have done? Why compete directly with them? Because T2s come in three main variants. This is the T2B. The T2A came first for about 4 or 5 years before they made the T2B. And it's slightly different. It has round bumpers, the indicators are in different places. There's a few bits like these air vents are a different shape and so on. And certainly within the UK, there is a friendly rivalry between the early bay and the late bay owners. So for me, it would make sense if you were going to be another slot car company making a bay window camper, I'd make the early bay, because that's about half your target market, and Carrera have got really the other half. However, on closer inspection, I don't think it's either. And this is confusing, but I guess it makes sense in the fact that obviously Fly are a Spanish company, and the T2C is a strange and bizarre thing. It's made up until quite recently. It's a version again of the late bay, but with a much squarer roof, some plastic rather than metal kind of round bumpers that are just there for show. Usually an ugly grille on the front panel because that's got a radiator behind it, because the T2C was powered by a 1.4 VW Polo engine. Made in South America until, as I say, fairly recently, and imported in large numbers into the UK for people who want to rent a lifestyle for a couple of weeks for a summer holiday. Camper van hire in this country is crazy. It's like a gold mine. It looks like Fly are hiding under that sheet a T2C. Now that's a very, very niche slice of the market of VW bus owners. It's not the one I would have gone for, so I'm slightly confused by that. So if we move on from the buses, I've rambled a lot about buses, I know. I should probably have a bit of coffee. Now, in the little Marvel style end bit of the bus video, I did say that finally this slotted Porsche LMP car was going to be next on the list. And it was. It was going to be a video Saturday coming. But it's going to have to wait, because this has been sitting around 6 months now and I still haven't done a video on it. Because this week, this beast turned up. The Volvo 850, which Americans and Australians are going, what are you talking about? It's just a station wagon. It's more than a station wagon. Trust me on that one. Spoiler alert, I think Scale Electric have done a very good job of this car, but we will have more about why it's not just a station wagon, why this is so loved by British race car enthusiasts, and why it wasn't cheating, in a video coming up on Saturday. So, I think that's about it for now. We'll have some of this on Saturday. We'll have this one the Saturday after. And then, that should be 24 slot cars for this year. So I will, thanks to Scale Electric, have achieved what I set out to do with just one weekend to spare before we start the Advent videos. Good chat. Have a good week.